Hello everybody. I'm going to show you how to make a quick backpacking meals that are affordable. This time I'm making dehydrated spaghetti. The same principle applies for chili and other things. I'm not going to teach you how to make spaghetti. I'm sure everybody knows that. You can find good recipes online. What I am going to do is show you how I do it in order to make it dehydratable and able to bring on backpacking trips. So we'll get started with that. As you can see here, I've browned my hamburger and I have it in a strainer on top of a stock pot. What I'm going to do is take boiling water and pour it over the ground beef. In this case, I have some deer minced up and put in there. But I'm going to pour boiling water over it, and that's to get most of the fat off. The fat will spoil when you dehydrate it. So I'm going to use boiling water, and that's going to get rid of most of it. You can see here I have some tomatoes and sauce reducing. And over here I have green pepper, onion, and mushroom. That's simmering as well. And then my water is boiling. Now that my water is boiling, I'm going to pour it over the ground beef. I'm sure you can use plain hot tap water for this. I just find that boiling water gets rid of most of the fat, and I put it over the stock pot. And the idea is that I'm gonna let the water cool. It's winter time where I am right now, so I can just put it out on the porch, and then that fat will harden on the top, and I can just throw it in the garbage. It's not good to rinse fat, I'm sure you know, down the sink. If it doesn't build up in your pipe, it builds up in your city waterways, and then a bunch of tax money has to go to cleaning it out, and I can just think of better things to do with our city tax dollars. So now I have my ground beef in here, and little thing I learned from my mom, she used to do this when we were kids. Unbeknownst to me, she would sneak shredded carrot into the spaghetti. I shredded a bit much. I don't know if I'll put this whole thing in. But once you cook it in with the tomato sauce, you can barely notice it. And it gives it that extra level of nutrients for the meal. It gives you a little bit more vitamins and vegetables. Also, now that we've taken all the fat out of the meal, essentially, I noticed that I didn't stay full for very long. When you're out there on the trail, you really want to have some of that fat. So what I've learned to do is to get some olive oil and put that in just a little take-along container, whatever you have, squirt bottle, whatever little container you bring on the trail, and add that into your meal after you've heated it. And that'll give you that fat that you need to burn while you're outside. So in here I've got my deer, beef, carrots, my reduction sauce. Normally I just use plain old spaghetti sauce like this, but I happen to have a bunch of tomatoes and sauce, so I reduced those down. But I'm just going to add some of this. We'll go with the whole bottle. And as you can see, my green pepper, mushrooms, and onions are reducing well. Got my water boiling for spaghetti here. Tonight I'm going to be using a combination of regular spaghetti and whole wheat. Generally I would use only whole wheat, but I've had this for a long time and I want to use it up. It's good stuff. It's from Dakota Growers. So these are my dehydrator trays. This one is Cabela's dehydrator. I find these used. I don't know how, I've never bought a new one, but at least when I was looking for them, you could find them used. Marketplace, you know, anywhere you find used stuff for fairly cheap. The little round ones are cheap, and I kind of overdid it. I had like 3 or 4 of them. Now I'm down to 2. But what I've done is taken some parchment paper, some scissors, and kind of cut a piece to fit the tray. The trays have these air vents on them. You can kind of see under here. So all the sauce and stuff without the parchment paper would just drip down. But if you cut a hole here for your inside part, generally it gets enough air circulation throughout to, I find, to dry, you know, chili and spaghetti and stuff. I haven't used this particular dehydrator yet for this, but I don't see why it shouldn't work. So what I've done is cut this one. Then I'm going to use this as a template to cut 3 or 4 more. You can see I've got my sauce simmering here, my water ready for my spaghetti. I'm not going to dehydrate all of this, but what I'm going to do is fill up some of these trays and freeze them so that I have ready meals. Well, now we're on to the next step in our process, and that is chopping up the noodles into fine little smaller pieces. So I'll get those chopped up, mix them up in the bowl with the sauce, and then spread it onto the parchment paper in the dehydrator. When I make this, when I rehydrate it with hot water out on the trail, it never turns out quite like spaghetti. It's more of like a soup, but it's still good. So I'll skip to mixing the ingredients together and putting it on the dehydrator. So now we have our bowl full, about half full of chopped up spaghetti noodles. We have our meat sauce. We're going to add some meat sauce. Which turned out really delicious, by the way. To our spaghetti. We'll go one more big scoop. Mix that up a bit. See what our ratio is like. And then get to spreading it out. And we are left with a product that looks a bit like this. I'll probably add a little bit more meat sauce to this, and then carry on. So now I'm spreading the spaghetti and meat sauce onto the dehydrator. I've done 4 trays. This dehydrator holds 5, but I only went with 4 because I got too lazy and I didn't want to cut another parchment paper, but I think this is going to be enough. I'm going to go with maybe a little higher temperature and a little longer than I normally would, because this has some bigger chunks of deer meat and mushroom in it. Last time I made it, I was pretty sure to make the pieces smaller, but it should work out. Okay, so I'm just going to wing it. I'm sure I could look this up if I wanted to, and find out exactly how long you should do it for. You can't really get too dry, but you can get not dry enough. So I'm going to go 10 hours at, I don't know, 135 sounds like a good number. And there we go. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. So here's the finished product, you guys, from my dehydrated spaghetti. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 fairly big bags of it. So it, as you can see, it looks about like this, and I made sure to dry it until it's completely could crack. When it's bendable, you know, that means it's still got moisture in it, and it won't last as long. But when it can crack in half like that, then it's like I say, I've heated it up a year, I think. You know, don't go by me and leave it in the cupboard for 2 years and he didn't get sick. But I personally have done it for about a year and it's lasted and it was really good. Also, you know, I'm going to be bringing some olive oil with me for added fat. That'll make it so that you stay fuller longer. In my experiences with rehydrating this spaghetti, when I used to live in Moose Jaw, I would run the trails that they have there in the Waccamaw Valley, and there was a little fire pit kind of partway through. So I'd challenge myself to make a fire and boil some water and rehydrate some of this stuff. But it doesn't. When I made it, it didn't come out exactly like spaghetti. It's more like a soup, like a spaghetti flavored soup. Maybe I'll experiment with, you know, weighing it, measuring my water down to the ounce, and then maybe it'll come out a little better consistency, more resembling spaghetti, but makes a really good soup. And what I like about it is, you know, this in comparison is a beef pasta marinara that I bought here in the US for I think $14. So, you know, $20 Canadian. I spent $60 and I got 4 of these big bags, so probably, you know, five or 6 of these, as well as, you know, I filled up 5 or 6 freezer meals for later, and I ate spaghetti for 2 days for $60. Also, my spaghetti doesn't have this entire list of ingredients. It's all natural, so you're not getting your sodium and your sugar and your preservatives and on and on and on. But yeah, that's about it. In hindsight, I might have chopped up my mushrooms and my hamburger a little finer so that they would have dehydrated quicker. But it's just a good way to go about it, whether you're using it for camping or just emergency preparation, you know, whatever. Ideally, I think I'm going to look at getting one of those freeze dry or vacuum bags. Freeze dryer would be nice, but they're like $2,000 for a good one or something last time I checked. Dehydrator, I saw one online the other day for $25. So good luck. Hopefully you can make yourself up a few batches of these, take them out, play around with them. Bring them to your ice fishing shack or out on a hike with you, make a fire, boil some water, have some food. It's just fun to do. So thanks for watching. Happy trails.